Ladies and gentlemen, I am real pleased to be here today. Before I start, I'd like to say one thing. I noticed when the confetti went up and it was being thrown and I was seeing it raining on the ground, it reminded me one time at Camp Ashraf when we were outside the perimeter and we had an improvised explosive device go off just a short distance away, and as the gravel was falling down around us and parts of equipment were also falling down, neither the members of the MEC or my troops flinched at all. We just looked at each other and recognized we survived another one. I am honored to follow Desmond Tutu's daughter, Naomi, and she's done a lot of great work in her own right. Desmond Tutu has a strong philosophy of a democrat and just society without racial division. The PMY is very, very similar to MEC. It's a democrat and just society respecting people no matter their race, national origin, ethnic background, gender, or religion. I know this for a fact. At the PMY Mosque, I used to watch Sunnis and Shias coming into the mosque to pray. My soldiers, no matter their religion, and we had all, to include Christians and Jewish faith, they were welcomed inside the mosque as well. The PMY is not able to be here. The residents of Ashraf are not able to be here today to speak for themselves. As a former resident of Ashraf, I take that opportunity to do it. As the Anti-Terrorism Force Protection Officer for all coalition forces in Iraq, as the Operations Officer for Task Force 134 Detention Operations, as the first Colonel of the Command at Camp Ashraf, I know better. PMY welcomed us. They worked closely with the United States. Then when the State Department employees could not figure out what to do, the agreement of April 2003 and Article 10 states this agreement will not be broke unless both parties agree. That ceasefire agreement, that surrender of weapons agreement was just ignored, and they were turned over to the pro-Iranian Maliki government. In all honesty, this is as despicable as the United States government treatment of its own Native Americans. What we did to the Native Americans, we are now recognizing as wrong and trying to correct it. But there's a lot that will never be corrected. We do have time to correct what we are doing to the MEC. And it's time to get it fixed, and it's time to get it fixed now. But instead, the State Department still calls them terrorists. We have recently learned of its planned attack on the Saudi minister. And meanwhile, our State Department and our government is trying to struggle and figure out how to deal with that one. The comment is now from our government is they need to figure out at what level that attack was authorized. As the anti-terrorism officer for all of Iraq, let me explain something to the American administration. Nothing of that magnitude is authorized or even started working on unless Khomeini and Ahmadinejad is already in on it. Also, there was a comment about, well, what do we do? How do we treat them? I have no question on how to treat them. Stop treating Iran like it's a spoiled child and trying to get its way all the time, and start treating them like an adult and hold them accountable for their behavior. As I mentioned, the planned attack on the Saudi Arabia. One of the responses coming out of our government is, well, we need to have increased diplomatic isolation of Iran. Please, somebody tell me, what does increased diplomatic isolation mean? It was Khomeini, as we all recall, who stated, the road to Jerusalem is through Kabbalah. Well, guess what? As an American nation, we are opening up the gates to Kabbalah for Khomeini's forces.